Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Kara McKinney. If conservatives want to counter left-wing hegemony in politics and to reclaim the national debate, then they must understand how networks of power work to keep left-wing activists well-funded and well-organized. Political battles boil down to the distribution of power, which is really the ability to coerce or influence how the citizenry perceive certain issues and respond to them in their own lives. You need cash to do so. Leftists have long understood this dynamic, and they're expanding their domestic and global influence thanks to financial support from a network of rich ideologues like George Soros, who is one of the largest donors here in American politics. Behind the political powerhouse is a financial powerhouse funding candidates for office, public universities, non-governmental organizations or NGOs, and nonprofit institutions, which are constantly training the next generation of left-wing activists. As we speak, those same activists are flooding corporate America with a radical ESG or environmental social governance policy platform. However, the ESG movement is, optically at least, losing one of its largest advocates, as Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, is no longer using the term, he says, because he says it's being politically weaponized and misused in the national debate. How sad. Fink, who's well known for making risky ESG-based investments with people's retirement savings, says he's ashamed to be involved in this ongoing discussion about corporate governance at the Aspen Ideas Festival on Sunday. Keep in mind, BlackRock manages more than $9 trillion and gets plenty of support from American depositors, although this is starting to change since Florida Governor Ron DeSantis pulled $2 billion from the firm back in December. Now, he's allegedly going to drop the overt ESG talk in his office. However, he said the company will stop discussing social issues if necessary, which is his way of saying he will promote the same ideas, but in a more subtle way. So really nothing's going to change. But even if he does change his paradigm completely, let's just say hypothetically, proxy firms will still continue to advance left-wing initiatives in the reddest of states, including in the Midwest and the South. For instance, the American Accountability Foundation is highlighting some key developments today, writing online, quote, Ohio's pension fund voted for a racial equity audit at Home Depot. North Carolina's pension fund voted for more censorship at Facebook. Florida's pension fund voted for UPS to adopt the UN's net zero climate change agenda. Why? Because of Glass Lewis, end quote. Glass Lewis is a massive proxy advisory services company with huge influence in the market for mutual funds, making them the perfect vehicle to push radical ESG policies in the name of achieving a emissions-free world, as if that's even possible. And you know, whenever left-wing wars on reality break out, it ends in corpses. This company advises hedge funds, mutual funds, and pension funds on how to use their proxy votes at board meetings to implement radical climate policies at the expense of retirees and other workers who pay into these funds. Someone's hard-earned money is fueling inane investments that generate weak returns. Unfortunately, the same thing is happening with our tax dollars as the Biden administration uses public funds to support its preferred causes. This brings us to the House Appropriations Committee, where Republicans are assembling the most conservative spending bill seen in modern American history, according to reporting from the American Principles Project. For instance, the committee passed an amendment this month to ban federal funding for abortion, to prevent certain flags like the pride flag from being flown over VA facilities, and to prohibit the funding of programs related to critical race theory via fiscal year 2024 bills for military construction, veterans affairs, and related agencies. Just like the Hyde Amendment stops public funds from facilitating abortions, well, at least in theory, House Republicans can use the power of the purse to advance conservative values and to curb left-wing influence in national politics. Joining us now to discuss is John Schwepp, the Director of Policy and Government Affairs for the American Principles Project. John, thanks for being here tonight.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Kara.
Great. So talk to us about some of these positive developments when it comes to Republicans in the House finally flexing their power over the purse muscles.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually really impressive. You know, we've been talking to Republicans for a long time saying fight the culture war. And, you know, we're starting to see more of that. But in this appropriations process, you know, led by, you know, Congresswoman Kay Granger and the House Appropriations Committee, they're doing good stuff. They're out there, you know, basically taking what we know, you know, we've done successfully with abortion, with the Hyde Amendment, and trying to apply the same logic to some of these other left-wing priorities and saying, hey, taxpayers shouldn't be funding this, and we should have a fight about this. And so it's really been good to see. I mean, this has been a priority for them. You know, we're having this ongoing discussion about spending. And, you know, obviously we have an enormous debt in this country. And I think the first thing that should go is left-wing priorities like abortion, gender-affirming care, so-called gender-affirming care, you know, diversity, equity, inclusion, affirmative action, all these different things. And you got to give them credit. I mean, the House GOP seems to understand that this is a good place to go for spending cuts.